And thank you, Ellen. That was absolutely fantastic. And I don't think you mentioned that you were 22 when you were first elected. And I think you're the youngest member of a cabinet anywhere in Wales. So fantastic, Ellen. And it's really great to be back to enjoy once more the beauty of Wales and the hospitality, of course, of the Welsh people. And yesterday, I was up at the Trainee Pilot Centre at RAF Valley up in Anglesey, which is incredible. Beautiful place, incredible people. And I had the chance to meet the families of those that are training there. They're training to be pilots to go from Anglesey off to further training then to the front line. But to them and their families, I had the great honour of announcing that our Armed Forces Covenant, our promise to treat our forces with the respect and dignity that they deserve, will be put fully into law, because this country will always stand by those who have stood up for us. And that is what this government was elected to do, to serve the millions of people who serve this country. And can you believe it? As Ellen said, it's almost a year since the general election. A year since we kicked the Tories completely out of Wales, painted the nation red, with a record 27 Welsh Labour MPs, many of them here in the room with us this morning. And if this first year was about clearing up the mess the Tories left, a vital and necessary task, now our focus is firmly on the future, ushering in the next phase of this government. And that's what the Chancellor began in the spending review earlier this month. A Labour spending review by a Labour government making Labour choices. And just look at the difference here in Wales. £22.5 billion per year for the next 3 years. That's an extra £5 billion for the Welsh Government. 16,500 jobs with 2 new free ports in the Celtic Sea and Anglesey, 2 new investment zones in Wrexham and Flintshire and Newport and Cardiff, connecting communities with a £445 million investment into railways in Wales, upgrading the Core Valley lines, improving links between key industries, and building 5 new stations across Wales, and more than £200 million for local growth funds. Not just this year, not just next year, but every year for the next 3 years. That's your victory conference. That's the difference that you make. A Wales back in the service of working people. And look, we're only just getting started. There is still a lot more to do to deliver the change that people voted for last year. And I want to thank Eluned, a fierce champion for Wales, a fantastic First Minister, putting her heart and soul into delivering for this country, and the best person to lead Wales into the future. And Carolyn and Joe, my colleagues and my friends, who fought for Wales every step of the way, making sure that the people of Wales are at the forefront of what we're doing in Westminster. Because, conference, let me tell you, in everything I do, on home or on the world stage, I know who I am fighting for. I know who's in my mind's eye, the important thing in politics. The Welsh workers that I speak to at businesses like Airbus in Broughton, or the Brecfa Forest Wind Farm, the communities I visited on the campaign trail last year, from Abergavenny to Carmarthen. Because let me tell you this, the world is changing around us. We've entered a new era. That's in defence, in trade, in industry, in technology. In fact, across the board. Change that has and will impact almost every aspect of our lives. Now, previous governments have made a choice to stick their heads in the sand, pretend it's not happening. And working people have paid the price with rising insecurity, bills that went through the roof because of our exposure to energy markets controlled by tyrants like Putin, politicians who didn't make the investment we needed in the technology and industries of the future, which meant not just the loss of jobs, loss of income, but also the loss of a way of life, including in communities here in Wales. I know that. I know how tough that is. And that's why this government is making different choices, even when they are difficult, like welfare. We cannot take away the safety net that vulnerable people rely on, and we won't. But we also can't let it become a snare for those who can and want to work. And everyone agrees that our welfare system is broken, failing people every day. A generation of young people written off for good, and the costs spiralling out of control. Fixing it is a moral imperative, but we need to do it in a Labour way conference, and we will. Protecting those who need it most, investing millions in mental health support, reforming our NHS so people aren't stuck on waiting lists for years on end, building council homes for people to build their lives around, programmes and good jobs to get people back into work, and the stronger rights that workers deserve. More opportunities, more homes, better support conference. That is the Labour way. Our job is to rise to the moment, finally, to fix what is broken and seize the changes that are happening so we can make them work for working people. I know that this is possible. Take our free trade agreements conference. Now, people said it couldn't be done. What they meant was they couldn't do it. The hat trick of deals with the world's largest economy, the US. Remember, for years, people talked about the US deal. We came along and we did it. With the world's fastest growing economy, India. The Tories talked about that one for 8 years. Remember that? We came along and we did it. And the world's biggest trading bloc, the EU. People said, well, you can't have a deal with the EU and the US. And we came along, conference, and we did it. All of those trade deals boosting Welsh businesses, like Penderyn Whisky, an iconic Welsh brand, with better market access to overseas markets, putting more money in the pockets of Welsh people, cutting prices for Welsh shoppers, but also building brand Wales across the world. Because the truth is that today our alliances are the currency of security. And in a more dangerous world, national security is economic security. This is the argument we must make and the argument we must win. Our enemies think that we should turn our back on the world, but we know we cannot afford to ignore reality. And at the NATO summit earlier this week, we played a key part in ensuring that the alliance emerged stronger, fairer, and better able to deal with the challenges that we face. I committed 5% to defence spending, playing our part on the world stage, keeping Wales safe. But at the same time, ensuring that we invest the increased spend in jobs and technology in Wales, good, well-paid, skilled jobs. A defence dividend, if you like. Not just for the 6,000 defence jobs already in Wales, but for many more to come. A defence dividend felt in the pockets of working people. And as we mark Armed Forces Day, we will continue to treat our forces with the respect they deserve, with the largest pay rise for the military in 20 years, putting veterans at the front of the queue for social housing, upgrading 800 military homes in Wales, so our heroes have the homes that they deserve. So yes, conference, we will keep our country safe. We will build on our strengths here at home. And that, of course, is what our modern industrial strategy is all about. We launched it earlier this week. It was a really proud moment for all of us, a turning point for the UK and Wales, a new relationship between business and government, and a springboard for investment and growth, from aerospace in North Wales to the world's first compound semiconductor cluster in South Wales, a relentless focus on the industries of tomorrow, with £30 million for local innovation in Wales, crowding in investment with the National Wealth Fund, cutting energy bills for business by up to 25%. They've been asking for that for a very, very long time, to make us more competitive with other countries. What a difference that will make for businesses like Port Talbot, creating thousands upon thousands of good, well-paid jobs, a better, brighter future for Wales. But while we're planning the future, there are those who are firmly stuck in the past. Take Farage. When you ask him about Clacton, he thinks it's running in the 210 at Ascot. A wolf in Wall Street clothing. Because Reform claimed to be the party of patriotism while sucking up to Putin and abusing our armed forces online. They say they're the party of workers, while they vote against workers' rights, intending to charge people to use the NHS and plan unfunded tax cuts for billionaires. We already know what happens when you make billions of pounds of unfunded tax commitments, conference. It's Liz Truss all over again. So no, Nigel Farage isn't interested in Wales. He's interested in Nigel Farage. And he takes people for fools. Just look what he said earlier this month. Going to Port Talbot, pretending he's got a plan to reopen a blast furnace, when he's got no idea what he's talking about. And he's got no plan at all. Let's be clear what Reform's plans would mean in practice. Cancelling the electric arc furnace. That's cancelling the construction work that's on track to start in just a few weeks' time. Cancelling. Cancelling the 5,000 jobs it will bring. That tells you everything you need to know about Reform. Not creating jobs, throwing jobs away. Now, while he's looking backwards, we're looking forward to the future. You all know the mess we inherited from the last government on Port Talbot conference. I've been there a number of times to talk to the workers and apprenticeships. I promised them before the election that this government would future-proof their industry, which is why we've committed to the future of Welsh Steel, backing communities in Port Talbot, and delivering a fully funded £80 million transition board to support the shift to green steel. Port Talbot will continue to play a vital role in steel production, in our clean energy mission, and in manufacturing for decades to come. But at the same time, we're investing in carbon capture, in hydrogen production, offshore wind, that will create thousands of good jobs and boost living standards across the country. Wales will be at the heart of the clean energy revolution. And conference, we're doing right by mining communities. In the spending review, we announced £118 million for coal tip safety. That's on top of the £25 million from the budget last year to keep communities safe. And the First Minister lobbied for that and delivered for Wales. And I am proud that we righted the historic injustice of mine workers' pensions, so mine workers will get the pensions that are rightfully theirs. So next year it's a clear choice. 2 Labour governments working together for the people of Wales, continuing on the course of change that we've set, with almost £5 billion extra for Wales, money for employment support and training to break down the barriers to opportunity, money for neighbourhoods driving growth and restoring pride in your community, more money for the NHS, for infrastructure, more money for the people of Wales. Or there's the other option. The risk of rolling back all the progress we're making, a return to the chaos and division of the last decade, a backroom stitch-up between the Tories, Reform and Plaid. And once again, it will then be working families left to pick up the bill, whether that's with Reform or with Plaid's determination to cut Wales off from the rest of the country, with no plan to put Wales back together. No conference. People do want change. Urgently. I know that. These other parties, they talk a big game. But who is actually delivering it? Who's delivering the record uplift in Welsh funding? Labour. Who raised the minimum wage, putting £1,400 in the pockets of the lowest paid? Labour. Who's saving families £150 on their energy bills this winter? It's Labour. Who secured the triple lock, extended the carers allowance, made pensioners £400 better off? It's Labour. Who's delivered stronger works for writers, for workers, sick pay, maternity, ending fire and rehire? It's Labour. This is the party that's got wages rising faster in the first 10 months than the Tories managed in 10 years. This is the government that's cutting bills and creating jobs. This is the movement that will rebuild Britain and renew Wales. So when people ask you, who's got the interests of working people at heart? The answer each and every time is Labour. It's always been the Labour Party. It always will be the Labour Party. The party of working people across every corner and community of this country. A stronger union with Labour, a richer nation with our plan for change, and a brighter future with Eluned Morgan as First Minister of Wales. Thank you, conference. Diolch. Enjoy your conference. Eluned.